board members and residents of the beautiful city of North Miami. Hope we have a good time tonight. Let's call the meeting to order. Madam Secretary.
Board Member Timothy.
Here.
Board Member Estime Irvin.
Present.
Board Member Galvin.
Here.
Chairman Bieneme.
Here.
Board Member Desome. Chairman, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. Please let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm going to ask my esteemed Irvin to take us, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. I thank you for your guidance. We're about to start the meeting, Lord. I ask that you allow for edifying, that you allow us to make sure that we know that we are here to do their business. Be with us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Let's move the consent agenda.
Move to consent.
Unless a member of the CRA Board wishes to remove a specific item from this portion of the agenda, tabs A through C constitute the consent agenda. These resolutions and items are self-explanatory and are not expected to require additional review or discussion. These items will be recorded as individually numbered resolutions adopted unanimously by the following motion: that the consent agenda comprised of tabs A through C be adopted. I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
A second.
The motion was seconded by Chairman Bieneme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
Number one.
Agenda Item 1, Resolution to Approve Spiritus Law Agreement. A resolution of the Chair and Board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving a professional services agreement with Spiritus Law LLC to provide legal representation services to the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency for fiscal year 2021 to 2022. Authorizing the Executive Director to issue a purchase order in the amount of $150,000 to Spiritus Law LLC for fiscal year 2021-2022 and providing an Agenda Item 1.
Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on item number 1. The agenda. What contract is
For legal counsel for Mr. Zelkowitz's
legal?
agreement.
Okay. Thank you very much. Public hearing is now closed.
Move approval.
And I second that.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to
If there is no question. Yes.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve Agenda Item 1. The motion was seconded by Chairman Bieneme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
Item number 2.
Agenda Item 2, Resolution to authorize the Director to update the redevelopment plan. A resolution of the Chair and Board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving certain projects as redevelopment priorities in order to achieve the requirements set forth in the interlocal cooperation agreement with Miami-Dade County and the City of North Miami. Authorizing the Executive Director to proceed with the preparation of an amendment to the redevelopment plan to include Sole Mia Park and Griffin Park Community Center as redevelopment projects. Authorizing the Executive Director to take any and all action necessary to facilitate the implementation of the redevelopment priorities and to amend the redevelopment plan and providing an effective. Agenda Item 2.
Good afternoon. Before you is, we had previously discussed, is the request for you to authorize me to start the process to update our redevelopment plan. As you recall, we had updated the plan in 2016 when we were going through our extension process. And it's been 7 years and 6 years at least. And we need to update it, but also we need to add several redevelopment projects that we've been discussing. For instance, Griffin Community Center and also Sole Mia Park. We need to update the redevelopment plan to be more reflective of the current times. So the process usually takes about 6 months. Our redevelopment consultant, Kevin Crowder, will be the one who will be taking care of it with CRA staff. Just a brief process, an introduction on the process. This is a public process. We have to have one-on-one meetings with each one of you, then meetings with community stakeholders and public meetings. Then we have to go to the county to negotiate with them and show them our intention to get their green light. And then we have to go back to some more public process, have a public workshop, and then it needs to be approved at the CRA level, city level, and then it goes to the county for approval. So optimistically, we're thinking by April, we would have an updated plan ready to be presented at the county so they can take it through their process.
Thank you very much. And our board members, after, since we don't have a presentation, weigh in and
Ask a quick question. We're doing it now. If, for instance, Solomia Park gets transferred to the Wildcat, so to speak, does this change that you're suggesting allow us to do that, or would we need to go back and plan again? I hear you mention Solomia and Griffin. If the nature of Solomia,
No, we're namely making sure that those two items are considered a priority while we're updating the plan, but the plan itself is going to incorporate what we get out of you all and also the public. So if it is the decision of the body to change it to include Wildcat Center, then that will be it. For instance, we will also be looking at resiliency and stability. Those are things that were not originally in the that we want to bring in now because those are issues that are appropriate for. So you're just giving me the authority to go through the process and to start the conversation with the county to let them know we're coming with.
so just because Solomia Park is mentioned, that doesn't mean we're married to Solomia Park.
No, it was because, like I said, we had said that those were the priorities, just that we needed to get funding set aside for both those parks. So we have it in there as a priority. If the board chooses to change it, fine. It's just going through the process.
And the funding that might have been, I'm talking totally theoretically, but the funding that might have gone to Solomia Park could theoretically be redirected to Wildcat.
As long as it's in the plan, the board can do that.
And that's what we're approving tonight? Put it
You're
in-
approving the process to get
The
those
process.
things, the
Gotcha.
process to get those things in the plan.
but we can add in,
Yes,
by meeting
yes,
with us, you
yes,
can add and remove
Yes,
in the
and
process.
yes, and like I said, there will be public workshops. We have to have community input. We have to show that. Then the county checks in, and then we go back and do another public workshop to get final feedback before we do the final product. So yeah, it's just because, again, I know Councilman Estimate Irvin, the priority was for the Griffin Community Center for you. I just wanted to make sure that it is listed as a priority. You choose to change it, it's fine. It's
And
just
you
we
put
got to go through the
you
process.
put 7th Avenue, not West Avenue,
It was always
in there.
in there.
And why don't we update it and put major corridor in case?
It's in there.
Okay,
The issue for the community centers, the plan never incorporated community centers.
I see.
It
Okay.
incorporated the Griffin Green Trail,
I see.
what do you call it, the amphitheater. We were supposed to build the amphitheater based on the downtown concept
I
plan,
see.
but we never had building park
I
in
see.
the plan. So
I have a question. I know you mentioned major corridors, so that means West Dixie corridor is
Yeah.
included in it.
yeah,
Thank you very much. And now let's,
Oh, I have
yes.
a question. Is there a limit to how many priority projects we can have listed? Or is there a limit or a maximum? Because I know right now you have 3 under approval of redevelopment priority.
no, there is really no limit in terms of what it is that you're determining. At the end of the day, it all depends on the funding. Like, what is it that you're intending to do? Once the plan, again, is just a list of what it is we want to do, then we have to prioritize, like I said, the priorities. In the first 3 to 5 years, which one are we going to do, the second, and so on and so forth. Obviously, the county and the staff would like to see a mix of both, some TIF generating projects and some community benefit.
Yeah, the reason why I asked, because I noticed item 2 and item 3 both had they both had section 2, which listed the same projects. So the first one you're asking is to authorize you to update the plan, but then in agenda item 3, are we now going through the priority project, like the top 3?
Yeah, we're going to be discussing.
Thank you very much. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on item 3. Item 3 is open to the public. Item 3 is closed. Now your motion.
Mayor, just to be clear, it's agenda item 2.
It's 2. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Let's reopen it to the public. I see 2. Public hearing is open on item 2. Public hearing open on item 2. Public hearing is now closed. Board members,
Move approval?
second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve agenda item 2. The motion was seconded by Chairman Vianame. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 4-0 vote.
3.
Agenda item 3, resolution to approve priority projects. A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving certain projects as redevelopment priorities in order to achieve the requirements set forth in the interlocal cooperation agreement with Miami-Dade County and the City of North. Authorizing the executive director to take any and all action necessary to facilitate the implementation of the redevelopment priorities and providing an effective. Agenda item 3.
PowerPoint. We're requesting that the board approves the following projects as priority projects so that staff can start working on them, the implementation, and also the financing. At this time, we need to focus on Northwest 7th Avenue Acquisition and Redevelopment Project as it's tied to our benchmark with Miami-Dade County to implement a redevelopment project by 2024. Additionally, affordable housing is a priority for the city and throughout the county, so we're proposing that Rooks Park. I apologize. We didn't have the PowerPoint up for the public to see. Rooks Park as a priority and to provide the incentives to clean and redevelop that site. The third item that we're proposing is the mobility hub. As you recall, the CRA had funded a mobility hub master plan. I know the city has gone through the process of getting the county or the other authorities to approve the stop on 125th Street. It is in our redevelopment plan that the CRA was going to commit about $15 million towards the redevelopment of that site, and that's considered a TIF generating, a public benefit to the community, and we're asking the authority to move ahead with that. And the last item that I brought up, and I had mentioned, is new, would be the multifamily rehabilitation, providing incentives to several multifamily properties that are considered with pressing health and safety violations that could pose undue burden on the residents. And we would create a multifamily guideline and agreement to work with just about 4 or 5 pressing properties that are considered endangered that have residents in them, and we would redevelop them. When I say redevelop, I mean renovate them so that these residents are not kicked out, not living in substandard environments anymore. And we're actually, as our mission is removing slum and blight. There are several multifamily properties along the major corridors, so we're going to be strategic and work with the code compliance and to determine the properties that are in need of this. So we're asking you to allow us to make that a priority so we can fund it. And again, this is just you telling us it's a priority so that we can create the plan, to prepare for implementation, and we would have to come back to you for the financing and the funding for each one of these projects as they come along.
Thank you very much. Board members.
Yes, thank you
Yes.
so much for the presentation. I noticed that the P3 was not on there. I know that the city's taking the lead, but it's still in partnership with the CRA. So I'd like to see that the P3 project is listed as a priority.
It can be listed as a priority. It's the specific project in the P3 that we need to have.
Which would be the parking garage, correct? So we can relist that one as a.
And the thing is, it's not like those are the only projects that the CRA are going to have. It's because we have a 3 years window to do that thing. in order for us not to lose our CRA, but this thing that can be done with 3 years.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah. The deadline is 24th, right?
Yeah, September 2024.
We don't have to list anything that's gonna come after that. We don't have to for now.
No, it's
because
just a priority because,
we
again,
need to meet that deadline.
yes, and again, like I said, this is for us to start the work, create the projects with our redevelopment consultant, and then we have to come back to you for the financing. These are large-scale projects. If you see, like I said, the mobility hub is 15 million. Brook Park itself, the request that you're going to see before you, 17 million. Those are large cash projects. And the Northwest 7th Avenue, also the acquisition of property and redevelopment, those are large cash projects. We will need to come back to you for the financing approval. We just need you to authorize us to start working on those quickly so we can get them down the line and by deadline date.
You add any project, the P3 may come
Yeah.
within that period.
Yeah.
Mayor, may I?
Yes.
So question, so with the deadline still being 2024, is the goal to have something built erected or at least in the process?
The county's feeling has been that we've been in the process for a while, so they want to see something at least dug up.
Like,
To
so
be
dirt.
as clear as I can be, right? Because we've
Okay.
been in the process for a while, for a few years.
And my second question is, out of the 4 that you have listed here, which one do you feel like realistically can be completed by 2024? Because I don't, or,
Northwest 7th Avenue.
or the multifamily rehab.
Yeah, the
No, could you-
multifamily rehab, but Northwest 7th Avenue is the one that's listed on the benchmark. Affordable housing.
Because
Is Rex
it's
Park.
three
2 out of
different type,
3
three
of the-
items.
of the
that
So we
can be
need 2
done.
out of 3?
Yeah,
And so right now we have 1?
we have one which is the residential rehab that we've,
Mhm.
which is about 78 houses that we've done through the city's housing division, and we have now funded 35 more. But like I said, they want to see a larger scale project done. That varies actually. So this does not stop the board. Remember, we're here, if all goes well, of course, we're here till 2044. We just need to get past this so we can pass the benchmark. After that, there will be other priority projects as the plan on the plan comes through, you will be financed well.
And so with Northwest 7th Avenue acquisition, like realistic, how long would that?
Well, we've already started looking at properties along 7th Avenue. It could be as, for the, well, realistic, it could be as
It depends
quick
on
as.
the type of
the type of property.
Whatever we acquire.
Yeah, if we're looking at a larger footprint, it's easier to acquire time-wise, but if we're looking at assembling several
Yeah, because
parcels,
that takes,
that
Yeah.
would be a little, they'll eat all of. We're looking at find properties along the corridor that would allow us to do somewhat
To
of an
start
impact
something.
and start.
and this has to be a mixed use, just any mixed use project.
Mixed use, mixed income, they did have, to have some affordable housing in there, they had that part in the language.
Can be
That's why mixed
commercial.
income is in there.
Does it have to redevelop project? As far as housing, we already
Yes.
almost meet that first
Yes.
requirement.
So this could be a commercial building? that
Yeah,
the
yeah,
CRA
Yeah,
It can be commercial.
it has to be a minimum of $3 million spent on this, but that number is actually listed. So it could start up some.
Ali. Talking about
Chairman, for the
West 7th.
record, as of 5:53, Board Member Desame is present.
Which item?
Item number 3, the priority projects.
Oh, okay.
And sorry, one more question. So what happens if we don't get any of these projects done by 2024?
There will have to be a serious conversation negotiating. That was what they expected of us. The extension, right? So it could.
I mean, ultimately, they could terminate the agreement, the interlocal agreement, and
And get rid of
basically
our CRA.
abolish the CRA.
And the good thing is better to, since we have the first about housing, the start on
Mhm.
it. Thank you.
No, I,
Okay. Now, let's open it to the public, so when we come back, allocation. Public hearing is open on agenda item 3, priority budget for the CRA for the next 4 years. There is no question. Can I hear a motion on item 3?
So, so move.
Second.
Chairman, for the record, so is this with the addition of adding the
parking garage.
public parking garage in the
Yeah.
downtown as a redevelopment priority as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just for the record?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we'll add that into the resolution, presuming it.
Let me ask, where would that money come from? From one of the priority in there? Or
Money would likely come from some sort of
The
financing that the
that we will
CRA
need to
would
do.
do.
Oh, okay.
To pay for.
A loan, in other words.
Thank you very much. Public hearing still open on agenda item 3. Public hearing is now closed. There is a question. Now oh no, you move it
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
I have a motion made by Board Member Desilme to approve agenda item 3 with the stated additions. The motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
That item number.
Chairman, do you want me to go back and take the other votes from Board Member Desilme now or at
No,
the
it
end?
wasn't there.
You all have a duty to vote. I don't know
No,
if
you
that's,
don't. You
is
don't
that part of
vote
your
if-
CRA as well?
If you didn't start the meeting, you don't have to vote.
No, we don't need to do that. If,
Okay.
if
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
here, he votes. If one of the board members is here, they vote. If not, they vote.
No, if you start the meeting, yes, vote. But
If-
since you didn't start the meeting at all,
Yes. Not like he got up. Yeah, I understand. We're fine.
Mr. Chair,
Agenda,
yes.
I'd like to table item 4, please. It's in my district, and I need to dwell in it a little more.
Let's hear the item to have. Yep. Table until when?
Until the next meeting.
Until the next meeting? Okay. This next meeting and December 14th? Yes. Okay.
We have a motion, a second, and a vote, please.
And,
I'd like to, a motion to
I
table
second your
item 4.
Huh? Yeah, we're gonna move the item to the next CRA meeting on December 14th, 2021.
So I have made a motion, and I guess the mayor has
I
seconded.
second, yeah, to move the item on the next meeting.
I have a motion made by Board Member Estime Irvin to table this item, agenda item 4, until the next meeting on December 14th. The motion was seconded by Chairman Bieneme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Item 5,
Agenda item 5, discussion on residences at
Before you is the applicant, representative for the applicant, Mr. Stephen Wernick, for residences at Nomi. Previously, this item was on the October agenda, and it was deferred to this to today. Just a brief background, the CRA Board awarded a $5.8 million and a 50% tax rebate to residences at Nomi at 950 Northeast 124th Street at the April board meeting. We've been working with the applicant throughout the agreement. However, they indicated that they had an equity investor that they were going to bring in, and when we met with them, it was apparent that they were actually, the equity investor was about to buy the property and change the scope to affordable housing at 6% AMI, which was not what the board had originally approved. We mentioned it to you. The applicant then contacted us right on the CRA Board Meeting date of October and said that they had gotten another loan to continue the project. We did get the documentation. However, some of the documentation did not meet the CRA guidelines because some of the loan language had special stipulations that it would be just market rate units. And also the loan was not signed. So the engagement letter was not signed. So our attorney did not feel comfortable with it. The applicant is requesting that we give them an additional 12 months to work on the loan because they are going to apply for a HUD loan to finance this project. The caveat to that is they need to remove the age restriction that they have on it, which is 55 and over. So they would have to go to the city, go through the city process to remove that covenant from the deed, and then go back to the permitting process and so on and so forth. We've read the last updated information they provided. The staff feels that we should just rescind the award. It was just an award. The agreement was not signed. When the applicant is ready, they can come back and apply. The other point for staff is that if they're removing the age restriction from 55 and over to general, there is a parking requirement that they now have to meet because when it was senior, you had parking credit. Now they have to meet additional parking, which means they still have to go back and do a little bit more work. So the documentation that we have in terms of cost of construction, the units and all that stuff will have changed. We just feel it's more appropriate for them to go back, go through their application process. When they're ready, they can come to us and the CRA will entertain another application for a grant. Mr. Stephen Wernick is here as the attorney.
If I understand what you said, that means the process may take another year.
Or more.
Okay, that's mean you said that inside the agreement.
No, and that's how, because they wanted us to sign the agreement right away, and we were trying to negotiate to make sure that what they had committed to doing was what it was, and that's when it raised several red flags for our attorney, and then we inquired, and we found out that they were trying to sell it, and so on and so forth. But for us, when the board votes to award something, we have to hold the money, right? We have to keep the cash available for that. So that keeps us from being able to fund other projects that are timely, that are appropriate and needed finance. So that's one of the reasons why I feel it's more appropriate for us to rescind the award. When they're ready, they can come back and apply.
Okay.
Mr. Wernick is here. I think he has a PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you, Rush. Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Vice Mayor, board members, I know you have a busy evening. We really appreciate you giving us some time on your agenda, and I've got just a very quick update on the status of the project. And I'll also be introducing Mo Yagubi from NM124, as well as Marcelo Tenenbaum, his partner. But we'll try and make this as brief as possible. You can see the screen. Just to recap, this project is just a couple blocks east of here. This would probably be the first multifamily new development downtown in a few decades. So it's a pretty significant site. And as you know, there's some history to the project. Right now, it's an underutilized surface lot. And we think this project can be a catalyst, right? It's a big catalyst for downtown. The development team is under NM124. The partnership is Trice Development Corp., which is Mo Yagubi, who's based in New York but has done projects here in Miami-Dade County, as well as George Savloff and Marcelo Tenenbaum from Blue Road that are based in Bay Harbor Islands. They own the property free and clear. They have for several years, and they are committed to doing the project. The challenges that they've faced really just relate to the financing, and I'll get to that in a second. The project is 175 total apartment units. 27 of them, which is 15%, are affordable housing. Will continue to be that. The project involves a lot of infrastructure improvements: bus shelter, pedestrian promenade, public art. And as you know, you all as a board approved this project for an award in April, which was an infrastructure grant as well as the TIF recapture over a period of time. Just to show you the breakdown of the units, but the benefit of the project is that this is $40 million plus in economic benefit when the project happens and the creation of direct and indirect jobs. And with the increase in market prices and development costs, that the amount of economic impact could actually go up from there. What's happened in the last few months? The 55 age plus restriction became a challenge with securing financing, particularly with the affordability component. It's a unique project in that sense. Obviously, COVID-19, we have increasing construction costs, but over the last couple months, they've found a loan product that they believe is a really good fit for this project. It's a HUD loan. It does have a very formal process associated with it, but it has actually an accelerated construction time frame from what we originally were anticipating. So instead of it being, I think it was 24, 25-month process, the loan documents call for a 20-month construction loan, and then it converts into permanent loan. We do have now, which wasn't in your backup, but we do have the signed engagement letter, and they've made the loan application fee. So I have copies of that. If anyone wants to see that, we can distribute that. And it does reference the affordable housing commitment. And just to kind of summarize, the only change really to the project we're talking about is removing those age restrictions and making it more inclusive to residents, and the timeline. We're talking about looking at a timeline that is 6 months to modify the covenant. We will have to modify the covenant that's recorded against the property because that contains the age restrictions. The other aspects should stay the same. If there are additional parking considerations, that should be sufficient time. Hopefully we can do that even sooner than 6 months. And then 12 months for obtaining a building permit and a 20-month construction phase, which is called for in the loan. We're talking about delivering the project January 2025, which is, as Rasha mentioned, 12 months past the original time. So most projects that come before you have not received site plan approval yet, still need to go through building permit. So in comparison, even though we've been delayed and it's unfortunate, the overall time frame for the project, if we were coming here for the first time, it wouldn't be that different than another project. This time frame of delivering by January 2025 would probably be pretty consistent with other projects that you might be considering supporting.
Very quick question. And the problem we have now is not really the project. We're now with the project. We're talking about the financing.
Yes.
That's the point.
And
that's where I want to.
so let me bring up Mo, because he's the one who's been dealing with it day in and day out, and I think he can talk.
Good evening, all. Mo Yagubi, Trice Development, NM14 LLC. Regarding the finance project, clearly we ran into an obstacle because initially the project had approved 55 over 5 years. A HUD program cannot, and that they don't want to discriminate against any family member or anyone that use tenant. Therefore, at the time when the project was approved, there was a lot of money available through city, state, and most federal government that they were in support of senior housing. However, things have changed, and as Steve mentioned, we have engaged program under HUD program that fits this project perfectly fine, and we are willing to put in our own equity into the project in order to complete it. And again, if the only obstacle is to lift the age so that we can go back to work. If we can,
I understand your point. It's not like we're against that, because originally the project was presented to us like that, and we approve it the way it is.
Correct.
And our point is now, by talking to the planning and zoning and different people in the city, they said in order to change that, the process may take another 12 months. That's why we said, since we have other things, let's move the money.
Right.
when we change that, you can reapply and we can approve the project.
Well,
I think that's that's the discussion we're having now.
if I may.
Yes.
By shortening the period of time that we have anticipated, change the age limitation, perhaps from 6 months down to 2 or 3 months, we will meet that deadline of end of 2020. Because the program is set up as such that we will have to deliver it. And in doing so, it's just a matter of coming in front of you, as well as, through our attorneys here, that we need to lift that restriction so that we can run this program parallel with changing basically the scope of the work. The only thing that we are not doing, obviously, we are not making any material changes as far as the project is concerned. We are keeping everything intact as it was approved, with one exception, and that is the age limit.
That's parking restrict those things. We'll have planning process for us.
Okay.
And
In
the
that-
CRA.
In that regard, I have checked this with our traffic engineer, and the fact that we have used shared parking throughout the whole project. As you all know, we have retail spaces downstairs that are generally active during the day, and they are closed at night, whereby the tenants can use the entire garage of 222 spaces plus 10 outside, 232 spaces, free and clear. So, and if in the event that we need to increase the parking capacity, I have our architect Frankel in here, we can simply add another half a floor to the parking garage that is independent. Therefore, it does not affect the entire project. It remains the way it was approved, with, if there is any additional parking required, we can add another half a floor, and that doesn't affect anything.
And Mr. Mayor, to your
Yes.
question, perhaps you're also asking, is it critical, or why can't we shift money to another project or to other purposes for the time being and then revisit this later? I think, Mo, maybe you could speak to
sorry.
this, the importance of the continued CRA support. Why is that important to the progress of the project?
Well, that has to go hand in hand with that CRA in fact incentives that we've received, 5.8, will close the gap. Currently, we have to be out of pocket in several $1 million. That's our own equity into the project, not to mention what we have spent so far to get to this point of all the soft costs that we have incurred. So if we don't have the CRA money, there will be a gap that we cannot complete the project.
You're going to add, Madam? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I just, I have a couple questions. I don't know if you all have questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have. Okay. You're done with the
Yes,
presentation?
I'll just, in case everyone wants to see a copy of the updated letter, which is signed, I'll just,
Which staff has not received yet or reviewed.
it's the
Thank
same
you.
as what you've received previously, except
Thank you very much. Yes.
So I had the opportunity to meet Stephen in regards to this project. Just to kind of, for the public, the site plan was approved by the city council when? The site
I
plan,
believe it was March of 2019.
so March 2019. And the changes that you all are proposing will not, you won't have to go through the site plan process or the CUP process again, just removing that age limitation.
I think there would be some administrative review involved, but the ultimate,
Vanessa.
Mm-hmm.
the covenant being modified would need to come back to the city.
So the city council, so you'll just have to come before us changing that guideline. And you're saying that would take how long?
We've allowed for 6 months, but possible.
So if you would work with city administration, maybe to get it on by the December meeting, is that doable? To change-
Absolutely.
What December?
We could try, maybe.
Well, we have one meeting in December.
Meeting.
Well, no, they need to go before the city council to change.
No,
the
to do the process, they're gonna have to refile an application. They gotta go to planning commission and all.
No. This is to change the covenant, the age restriction. They have to go before the city council.
No.
They gotta go.
Planning,
So they have
exactly.
to go to the
There's
planning?
a lot of other.
Okay.
I don't know if it needs to go to the planning commission because it's a modification. We're not proposing a whole new project or to remove the entire covenant. It's just one sentence. I don't know if we know the answer.
Because
to
last
that,
time we
but
discussed about the covenant.
The nature of the
Even
changes
without,
is
even without
pretty
the
simple.
financing restriction,
Yeah.
this is the process.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
a-
You
it's
recall,
a
Mr.
process.
Wernick.
I mean, we certainly will need to meet with staff and identify what exactly the process
Yeah.
is.
Just to refresh, the mayor is correct. I remember clearly when we were going through the application process, the mayor was questioning why it was all seniors 55 and
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
And he asked that, and Mr. Wernick had said, we have to go through a process if we were to change it.
That's right.
So
that's
that
right.
process does
Yeah.
exist.
What I'm saying is I don't know how long it would take. We would certainly be willing to start that immediately, but we will need to meet with staff. I think it's unrealistic that we would be at city council.
Mhm.
Probably need more.
Gotta go planning and.
No, and I understand, but I know, Madam CRA Director, typically with our development projects, when you approve them, how long do they take, I guess, before
So-
you?
Our guidelines have that in there. From the time that they are awarded, they have 1 year to get their site plan approved, and then they have a 1 year to get their building permit. For instance, was it Residences at Nomi got their site plan approved within the first year, and now they're working on their permitting. The challenge we're having with this particular applicant is his site plan was approved in 2019, and at the application, he did say that they were at 70% in the permitting process, right? So now, the permitting process is no longer at 70% complete because they're asking more to redo certain. Again, my concern is because you're removing it from seniors to regular, there is a parking issue. I did speak to Love. You have to add parking.
I understand
And the
that.
site plan gonna be.
And
we
I
approve.
fear, when they do that, because, you're going to have, I don't know if you're going to recall that you were there, but when they were going through the original site plan approval, residents were here because of the
Yeah.
thing. I
They're
feel
gonna have
that
to do
6
workshop
months
and
is
things
a
like
little
that.
bit optimistic, going through that process. Additionally, the HUD loan application, I don't know if it's the first time, but I do know it's a very competitive process, and it does take it. So is the loan guaranteed? You have it guaranteed by
We
HUD?
have gone process, it's a lengthy process, correct. However, we were already, the signed agreement that we have, this program that fits this project perfect. And we have all
That's
the.
not the question. The question is, you gave us a letter today, okay, that you said you signed. Excuse me, Mr. Chair. What is this letter? Is this a commitment letter from HUD saying they're going to give you a loan? Has HUD told you they're going to give you the loan?
These loans readily available as long as we meet the requirements such as the age restrictions and things of that nature. These loans are readily available.
So
for
what is
projects.
this letter that you've provided us today?
It's an engagement letter that we have started the process, and that
With whom?
with HUD, with the brokers going through the HUD.
Okay, so this is a letter with a broker.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand, because you've made a big point of, we have a signed letter, you've handed it out to everybody. So you've engaged a broker to assist you with getting the loan from HUD.
That is,
Okay, does the broker guarantee that you're going to get the loan from HUD?
these loans, as I said,
I understand they're readily available. Our concern is what happens if you don't get the HUD loan? What's plan B?
well, we will have, we'll have to look for other finance.
So I guess, back to my question. So we typically give each developer about 2 years to get their site plan and 1 year for their building permit. 2 years, correct?
No, it's a total of 2 years. It's 1
Yeah.
year for one and 1 year for the
Yeah,
other.
it's okay, so a total of 2 years. So they technically have about 2 years before a drought. Is that correct? Okay.
And
So
they
if
have to
we
show
typically
financing.
give a developer 2 years before, a year for site plan, a year for permitting to draw out. So meaning when we approve these projects, it's another 2 to 3 years before they even come before the CRA board for disbursement, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if we're approved in April of 2021, technically they're not even fully in year 1 yet. And they have another year to get building permit. I understand, hey, we can defund their loan, but if they already went through the TIF grant application process and we know what may be happening downtown, I think keeping that funding, hey, we already approved them, so that to send them back to reapply when we said, hey, we would approve you, we might as well just can we just delay them and say, hey, when do you guys expect to draw down? If it's 2025, we know in 2025, we budget for NOMI residents. I don't see what's the rush to defund someone or say, hey, let's take this loan away, because typically if we're giving each developer 2 years for a building permit and a site plan, and they already have their site plan, now let's just extend that year so they can hopefully maybe get this covenant situation worked out. Yeah. So to me, that's just my,
If we're gonna change the age restriction, don't you think we're gonna need maybe a new site plan approval and parking restriction and all those things again?
I can't speak for the city, but like I said, I spoke to Ms. Love, and she says, yes, the parking will be a requirement.
Well,
The-
we
the-
cite another site
The
approval,
existing,
site
yeah,
plan
they're gonna have to
approval.
increase the parking. There's even I think 5% for the guests, so on.
The
So-
only thing I would clarify is I think it would be treated as an amendment to the approval or a modification, because the number of units, 90% of the project would stay the same. We're talking about some adjustment in parking and the part one section of the covenant. But I don't think we're starting from scratch. I think we're going back through a process that's an abbreviated.
Let's see.
Can I add something? Sorry, Marcelo Tenenbaum. Adding something about the loan that you were asking. I mean, if there is a warranty on the loan, if we don't get the approval on the loan, usually what they need is additional equity. So you get the loan. It's a matter of how much money you need to add to your down payment or your contribution. So I would say that yes, it's warranty as long as we can bring the additional equity that will be required by the lender. So this is like a puzzle. I mean, we need the CRA money, the $5.8 million, plus our equity, plus the land, plus the loan to build it. When you start to remove some pieces, like the CRA money, then this puzzle starts to fall down. I mean, there is no way to put the things back together. 2024 or 2022, I mean, if we are moving this money for the future, then we cannot get the loan. If we don't get the loan, we don't get the money. So it's like kind of, the chicken and egg situation. So I thank you, Cassandra, for your support. We really need the CRA money so we can go to the lender, and if there is a requirement for additional equity, we are ready to step in again and bring additional cash to the project. So I would say that there is no warranty on anything, but we are very close to get it, and what the lender could ask is more capital contribution from us, and we are ready for that.
Thank you. Did you identify
Thank you very
yourself for the
much.
record, please?
Yeah.
Marcelo Tenenbaum.
Okay. I mean,
Your
so
name and
how,
address for the record, and what do you?
Yes. Blue Road, principal from Blue Road, developer, 1111 in Concourse, Bay Harbor Islands, Suite 217.
Thank you very much.
and in your experience, how long is the process with HUD? To get the final loan approval, in your experience, how long is the process?
About a year. That's normal process.
By the broker?
Okay, thank you very much, and board members, Councilman Galvin, Councilwoman Estimé Irvin.
I just have I have multiple concerns. Because with the covenant, you're asking for us to change it, but you don't know what direction to go. So my question to you is this: let's say that it doesn't change, then what happens?
This
Will you-
financing
will-
won't work.
Right, and will you continue the project or no, or what?
Well, we'll have to find the right, again, limits. Only certain type of funds available. Use more, back then we started out, looked like government is shifting that. Specific part, no, they don't want to terminate. Secondly, we're trying to bring a vibrant downtown building that is suitable downtown. So rather than most, sorry, I'm much older than 55, but we don't invest for the whole community to have a building that has all different age, that in terms of economics, else, not to mention that, again, we are not changing the scope of the project. 15% affordable part remain the same, 85% will be market, and as you all know, the rental in the market, rental market has gone up tremendously. So the city stands to make, in terms of the real estate tax, will be beneficial for the city as well.
Oh my,
Councilman Desaulniers,
No,
the question?
no.
Agenda
Can I-
item 6, Mayor, Chairman?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
this was a
five.
discussion.
It's agenda
Yeah,
item
this-
5.
Item 5 was a
Let's
discussion
open it to
item.
the public. Public hearing is open on agenda item 5. Public hearing is open on,
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I'm Marcus Frankel. I'm the architect, and I'm also in the public. I just wanted to add a couple of notions, because it's questions, very good questions. The vitality of this project is designed into the buildings. I don't know if you remember it, but I've got certain points I can tell you if you'd like. But the unit mix is what's important. There's 175 apartments. Of that 175, there's 38 studios of the minimum size of 550 square feet, which would be very suitable for students, younger people, elderly, etc., that want a nice small unit that accommodates them. The project also has an abundance and a great balance of amenities. It has 9,000 square feet of retail and commercial functions on Northeast 124th Street. It has 1,300 square feet of medical office or professional office along 10th Avenue that meets the corner of Northeast 123rd. It has 3 residential buildings, a 3-story building on 123rd, which scales down to the neighborhood. Right across the street, you have apartment buildings of 2-story, et cetera, and down the block going more towards City Hall. The second building on 10th Avenue is 5 and 6 stories with some rooftop amenities. And then the larger building that you see in the renderings that you exhibited is only 7 stories, and it's on 124th Street. And that has the retail component on the ground level, which would be suitable for some food service, some convenience store, possibly food take service, restaurants, other retail functions that would serve the neighborhood and the residential community. So on top, in the center of all this is a parking garage, which has access only off of 124th Street. We were very careful to do that so you didn't crowd 10th Avenue or 123rd Street. And that parking garage holds 232 spaces. There's another 12 in the right-of-ways parallel to the property. And then there's 2 service spaces and a dedicated fire truck loading service on 10th Avenue. So the vitality, the units, as I mentioned, the 1-bedrooms they start from 750 to 770 square feet, and the 2-bedroom with 2 baths, minimum size 800 to 880 square feet. So you have a variety of unit types that will attract a lot of users, So as Mo was saying, the HUD financing wants to see a broader cross-section of users. So you can talk about students, you can talk about single people, couples, and families, all living in this facility with a balance of amenities. On top of the garage, I don't know if you remember, but we have a nice board to show you if you'd like to see, is a recreation center.
It's not the site, we're talking about financing.
Yeah.
That's a discussion.
Right, but I just want you to know the vitality is there, and if it changes from age 55 and older to general population, you'll have much more vitality and more income, more tax revenue, more people spending money in the city, down 125th Street, 124th, wherever you have commercial activity.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Public hearing is now closed. Yes, sir.
I was going to suggest that we accept the recommendation of the staff to rescind this award right now. They can certainly come back, but to continue to delay this, I know that this has been stringing out so long. I think I was still working on Northwest 7th Avenue, and I've changed office locations 2 or 3 since then. So for a council, I think that's ready to shake and bake. I think this moves us along if we rescind.
Is that a motion you're making?
Yes.
Second?
Secretary.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to accept the recommendation of staff to rescind the award to residences at NOMI. The motion was seconded by by Board Member Desilme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
Motion carries with a 3-2 vote.
Agenda item 6.
Agenda item 6, update on NOMI Lofts by Riva Development.
This project was presented to the board about a year and a half ago. This is the 5-unit elderly project, a 2-story building. This is a multi-party funding scheme. The city has provided the land plus some funds. The CRA was asked to provide $486,250 to include an elevator, and the developer, Riva Development, got a loan for $490,000. Throughout the process, they've been working on the permitting and the plans. However, they did have some delays, and one of them was they needed to meet the HUD requirement of getting a project done by September. But then we were in the middle of COVID and so on and so forth. The development team is here. They were able to get the HUD extension through March 2022, which means they have to have the project built by then. Also, cost of construction has increased. They have provided us with updated bids, and the lowest bidder for the construction brought it up to an additional $386,359. So they are here.
Okay, so
requesting-
if I'm, go ahead.
They are here to request that the board approves an additional increase of $386,359 to go towards the construction cost, which would make the CRA investment in this project up to $872,609.
Thank you very much. Let's open to the public. Public hearing is open on item 6. Public hearing open on item 6. Public hearing is now closed. I don't know if board member wanna hear from them, or you have the money?
Yeah.
Don't tell
Well,
me
to be
it's from Nomi.
specific, sir, remember our housing budget for this year was $816,000. We're covering some of the residential rehab projects that were approved, so we just about have that. And we won't be able to fund other housing initiatives until we do the financing, of course, for the larger projects. But that's exactly, it'll fit within what we have in our budget right now.
I would like to motion to approve and discussion.
We're
How
not,
much is that? How much will they request?
386. This is for.
Okay.
Can you
that's a-
please restate the motion?
that's, wait a minute. Specify where you're gonna take the money. From the money
From
that
the
was.
housing
Okay,
initiatives budget.
okay. Because the money from residents at NOMI,
We
we
have
need to move it for District 4 so we can assist businesses of the area, especially the 7th Avenue corridor. That would be my motion for that, for the money, the $660,000. The 600, no, let's finish with
let's finish
item
with
6 first, sorry. Okay, the motion is to,
Second, I second.
yeah.
Okay. Can you
Okay.
please restate the motion?
The
Councilman
motion
Irvin
is to improve, what is the amount that is needed? I move that we.
$359.
The amount that the executive director just stated, move forward with.
Let me ask you a question. Would this be more in addition to what we have given?
Yes, sir. Yes.
When would the project be ready, do you know? Or would this be?
We have identified, Don Patterson, Rehab Development, President of Rehab Development. We've identified 3 qualified general contractors. Have selected one that we're having negotiations with. He's indicated that he could have the project, that she could have the project built in 12 months.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Madam Secretary, there's a motion.
So, Mr. Chairman, just to confirm through the chair, board members, so the motion is to approve the staff's recommendation
Yes.
to use the additional money to fund the hard costs. They have to expend their construction loan first, and then they have a completion date of March 31st, 2020.
You can meet those requirements, correct?
Interesting. So I'm sorry that we're having this conversation here. The construction loan would come last. The construction loan is interest only, and we're trying to avoid having to expend those dollars early side. So CRA dollars and the city dollars, which have already been dispersed at some level, will continue to be dispersed until we burn off that portion of dollars, and then we go to construction financing. It would be inefficient financially for us to actually tap into the construction dollars first.
What about the loan? The loan is not an odd loan, no?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's a private financing. We're already fully approved. We've closed on the financing and have been for about a year now. So.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, let's move it. If they don't meet the requirement, then we can decide later. That's why,
They be able to meet it?
no, but in March 2020.
You will be able to get the project done by March 2022.
We are going to, after having conversations with HUD, we're going to put a shovel in the ground, and we're going to work expeditiously to get the project done by March 2022.
Why do we need HUD?
Because that's where the city's funds are coming from.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so they have the
Right.
city's fund.
The
and
previews, the city part. Okay,
City
okay,
portion,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
And so we've had conversations with HUD.
Okay.
They've given us, a couple
remember.
extensions, and the goal is to actually get a shovel in the ground. As long as they see progress occurring, the likelihood
I see.
of a hold at March 2022 is not going to be a big issue.
Okay.
What I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, is if HUD gives any extensions, then we will extend
yeah.
accordingly.
Okay, that's
Okay.
great.
But can we remove that stipulation that I guess that they utilize their construction loan first? Because typically I know CRA begins to draw first. So what, no?
No,
CRAs are
it's
always-
always,
Oh, so relax.
the public money's always last. I mean, it puts us at risk. But if that's what the will of the board is, then.
Because how much have you guys dispersed as of today?
No, we're not
That's-
gonna
that's
see
how
it
it's-
first.
That's why it's always like a reimbursement. They have
Yeah.
to put out
Right.
their money first, and
No,
then.
no, but for this
reimburse.
project, how much have you guys already dispersed?
We've paid $95,000. We've paid for the architectural and engineering plans for $61,000 and $33,000 for their developer. So it's
And-
$94,000. And the city has given $62,380 today. They're holding off.
All right, so we can move it.
No.
I have a motion by Board Member Estimate Irvin to approve the staff's recommendation on Agenda Item 6, seconded by Board Member Timothy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What I was saying before, item 5, agenda item 5 is $660,000. Since our focus is on the Northwest 7th Avenue corridor, I don't think they have any project that area. Can we please tie the money to the project in?
Which one is that, Mayor? Because I thought the acquisition would be through like other financing, like a loan, since we haven't levied loan.
No, whatever the money is to put aside for District 4 development,
The acquisition for the.
whatever it is.
Mm.
So I'm assuming what Mayor is saying, may I speak for the chart, that, you know, when you're going through the acquisition, we have to pay for appraisals.
Not just
you know, and all
that,
that
other
stuff. But,
project
but
that
the
we may have
costs
to move forward,
getting us to that point.
and the
we have to
sprinkler
pay for.
system and
Well-
everything for the Northwest 7,
Yeah.
that's $660,000. We're gonna put aside for that.
Mayor,
Can
can we discuss that maybe at the next board
There's
meeting?
no discussion.
No,
It's like you take $386,000
No,
We
I'm
cannot
saying
say
to
there's
see
no
what
discussion.
other.
We have to
everywhere
have
a
a
project.
discussion.
Oh, we can discuss
We can,
that
no, I'm
now.
just saying, what if, I remember the
No,
CRA director stated that how many businesses that were still waiting for, rehab grants?
No.
maybe-
You
You
take
know-
386. You didn't think about that.
I didn't take that, then you had
You
it in the
take it.
budget that wasn't utilized.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, and I've been here for the past couple of months and I haven't, and I really, it's okay, Mr. Mayor, it's all right.
No, it's the
No,
the
no, that's all
discussion. The discussion item is to put the $660,000 toward project in district.
It will be through a budget amendment process anyway. So
Yes,
we will
to
bring
come
it
with
back to
it.
you.
Okay. Do we vote on it?
You have just given me the direction to do the budget amendment, and I will bring it back.
Okay. Why don't we vote on it then? Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
think,
fine.
we'll wait for
When the bud, huh?
Yeah, you'll bring the amendment.
When it?
We're
Can
not
we
voting.
vote on it too? So we can,
There's nothing to vote on.
Okay. You would bring the amendment. Thank you, and now, CRA report.
I just wanted to thank you all for approving the engagement letter. Process we went through, and I know I contacted all of you, and was glad that I could restructure it in a way that know that we will not go over the budgeted amount coming. So thank you very much.
The director report.
Yeah.
And officially this afternoon, and receive a letter from Director Kashakamo resign till December 4th, 2021. The official information.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure and an honor serving you all. I
You
don't
have
want to get too
anything to
emotional
say?
about it. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this. Loved every minute of it. I've been here in 2014.
By the way, she won't be that far. She will be next. Be at the county.
On to bigger and better. Well, congratulations,
Yeah.
and thank you again, Rasha, for your service. I remember when you started in 2014, you were part-time. It was just you, and then you added Gail, and now you were upstairs in the city manager's office, and now you're in the whole suite with the whole staff. So, again, thank you for your service. I know your staff will be in hands because you have prepared Gail and the whole team to to kind of run it. Again, I know it's not goodbye. See you later.
Rasha, will you be with us on the 14th of
Yes.
December?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
that
so
will
that
be
will
the-
be your last
Yes,
meeting.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
attend the last CRA meeting and council. You go in.
I echo what the councilwoman said. Congratulations. It is a real bummer to lose you, but we'll be in you. Any North Miami issues that come before the county, I expect quick approval.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to say anything, Rasha?
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
I have a motion to adjourn made by Board Member Galvin, seconded by Board Member Esteve Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. We are adjourned. It is 6:46.